Hello, welcome to vocabulary lesson number 4. This is the first of 3 videos for the second additional focus for vocabulary. There will be 20 words in each video, so you have 60 words to learn for this assessment. So let's get started. Alright, so for your first word you have inferred, which is an adjective. This can also quite easily be turned into a verb for infer. So to infer. But if something's inferred, then it's an adjective. All right, so the collected data, and inferred means derived by reasoning, implied as a conclusion. So here we have the collected data could only lead to one inference. So here we have another form, which is a noun, one which the scientists dreaded to be true. So an inference is the noun form of this, which means a conclusion that has been derived by reasoning. So we have a couple different forms here. Let's cover it again. So the first is inferred. So the inferred data, that uses it as an adjective. Lucinda inferred that the data must be true. That's using it as a verb, a past tense verb. Then you can also have Lucinda drew her inference, which is using it as a noun. So you have 3 different forms of this word that you can use: adjective, verb, and noun. All right, so for our next word we have diverse, which is an adjective, and it means varied. So here we have the museum's World Poetry Day hosted a diverse set of speakers who shared their point of views from various walks of life. So diverse can also be changed into the noun diversity. So there's different forms of this. And in U.S. culture and in a lot of cultures, diversity and being diverse, the adjective form, is considered a positive thing. So it has positive connotations. All right, so our next word is articulate, which is an adjective, and this has positive connotations because it means speaking well. So the tiny bird, overcome with rage, felt it necessary to articulate her frustration with the world. So here we have articulate, which is the adjective. Okay, so the speaker was articulate in sharing her ideas. That's the adjective. Here, this is actually the verb form of it, articulate. So he is articulating his frustrations or her frustration. So do know you have the adjective form and the verb form, which are spelled exactly the same. All right, next we have apprehensive, fearful, worried. So this has connotations of being careful because something could be dangerous. All right, so let's take a look at the sentence. The apprehensive puppy was at first fearful of leaping off the couch, but with the help of her owner, she found the bravery to try. This is adorable. All right, so here apprehensive is the adjective. If you wanted to make it a noun, you would turn it into apprehension. All right, so you got 2 forms, apprehensive, apprehension, and it means to be careful when there's possible danger. All right. All right. So next word is benevolent, which is an adjective. Good, kind-hearted, generous. Being benevolent has a lot to do with generosity. So here we have showing the true benevolence that friends can offer. Mr. Elephant offered Mr. Cat his umbrella. So generous. So benevolence is the noun form. So benevolent is the adjective. The elephant was benevolent. That's fantastic. And then benevolence is the noun. You show benevolence, you are benevolent. All right. So next we have virulent, all right, which is an adjective and it means very harmful. So airports were immediately shut down in order to minimize the spread of the virulent virus. And they do sound similar for the reason. They have the same root word, so they are similar for a reason. Viruses tend to be virulent. All right, so for instance, if you are immune, a virulent virus would not worry you. However, if you, what was the word of the kitten? Vulnerable. If you're vulnerable, then the virulent virus would be threatening or precarious. Ooh, so many vocabulary words. All right, so next we have pious, which is an adjective, and it's devoutly religious. So the Puritans, which maybe depending on when you're watching this video, we've already learned about them. The Puritans were known for their pious lifestyle that equated religion with law and dedicated daily life to fighting against the devil's trickery. So pious is the adjective. If you want to turn it into a noun, you have piety. Okay, so they showed piety, they are pious. All right, next up, we have skeptical, which is doubting and is an adjective. So despite assurances that it was true, he remained skeptical that his friends weren't simply playing a trick on him. All right, so skeptical means to show doubt, to suspect that something is going on behind your back, or to kind of trick you. Yeah. All right, so skeptical is an adjective. If you want to turn it into a noun, you would turn it into skeptic. All right, so skeptical is the adjective, skeptic is the noun, it is a person. The skeptic was skeptical. All right, so next up, we have provincial, which is an adjective, and it means unsophisticated or narrow-minded. So this word is well known in Beauty and the Beast. So if you're familiar with the song, you might have asked yourself, what does she mean when she says there must be more to this than this provincial life? So in a famous line from the opening song of Beauty and the Beast, Belle desires to experience more than the limited viewpoints of her fellow villagers. There must be more than this provincial life. So essentially, if you were curious, or even if you weren't, now you know, it means unsophisticated or narrow-minded. So she's from a small town where everybody sees the world in the same exact way, and therefore she calls it a provincial life, and she wants more because she enjoys reading, which we all do. We all love reading. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. All right, next word is resignation, noun, acceptance of a situation, and it is a noun, so let's take a look at it. Pusheen was forced into resignation, so it's a thing. He would not get to bake a cake today, no matter how much icing he had already prepared. Poor Pusheen. He knows true pain and suffering. So resignation is the noun. If you want to turn it into a verb, it's resign. So Pusheen was resigned to not bake the cake, was forced into resignation. All right, so you have the verb form and the noun form. All right, next we have illumination, which is also a noun. You have light and clarity. So let's take a look at this, because it's a bit of a weird one. All right, the illumination. So know that it is a noun. The illumination of the clashing lightsabers. You could also change this into a verb. The clashing lightsabers illuminate. So illumination is the noun, which is the light, which shows clarity. Or if you want to say the clashing lightsabers illuminate, they are creating the light and the clarity. All right, so the illumination of the clashing lightsabers casted an eerie glow upon the rapid battle. However, it moreover illuminated. Oh, look at this. Here's the verb. The truth to Rey. Kylo Ren had turned to the dark side. So here we have illumination, the noun, and illuminated, which is the verb. All right. Next up, we have resolution, which is also a noun. We see a lot of these nouns with the ending T-I-O-N. All right, so determination. So here, Little Ghost made a bold resolution. The year 2017 would be awesome, no matter what. Well, I hope he was right, because that year is past. So resolution is a thing, just like illumination is a thing. So resolution. If you want to turn this into a verb, you change it into resolve. Little Ghost resolved to make 2017 awesome, no matter what. So resolution, resolve. All right, next up, we have servile, which is an adjective. Overly submissive, cringing like a servant. So servant, servile, same root word. They sound similar for a reason. All right, Zim wanted only one thing, the servile submission, alliteration, of all humanity to his unyielding will. That seems fair. All right, so servile, overly submissive. So he wants people to be overly submissive in their submission. So yes, this is a little redundant. That actually wouldn't be very well written due to its redundancy. But servile is the adjective. All right, so next up we have diligent, hardworking, positive connotations there, adjective. All right, so diligent in his... that should say in. Diligent in his profession. The worker ant continued to burrow through the ground despite the oppressive summer heat. Poor ant, he's so sweaty. All right, so diligent is an adjective. If you want to turn it into a noun, it's just slightly different. It's diligence, ending with a C-E. So diligent is the adjective. Diligence is the noun. All right, so next word is refute, which is a verb, and it's to disprove. So you refute evidence by disproving evidence. So here we have the baby bird challenged the crowd to refute his statement that he was indeed the cutest baby bird in all the land. All right, so refute is the verb. If you want to turn this into a noun, it's refutation. All right. So refute means to disprove. So he's challenging people to disprove that he's not just the cutest bird ever. He's pretty cute. I don't know if he's the cutest bird ever, though. All right, so next up, we have anarchy, which is a noun. So lack of government, chaos. All right, so as soon as the teacher left the room, the classroom descended into anarchy. The pencils, papers, and books flying through the air. So anarchy is a noun. There's also another form of noun, which is the anarchist. So an anarchist is a person who practices anarchy, and they're both nouns. All right. One who saves greedily. That is a miser. So if you're like, I thought we've had this word already, you are correct. You're not wrong. So miser is on the list twice for some reason, so I just put in the videos twice. So miser is a noun, one who saves greedily, and this should seem familiar. Scrooge was a true miser who refused to use his money. Oh, come back. To use his money on anything, including the things he wanted and even the things he needed. So it's one who hoards money. All right, so someone who's not benevolent, because they don't share their money with others. All right, so discord, noun, disagreement. All right, so disagreement, discord, they are nouns. So don't confuse it with an adjective. In this sentence, I'm going to be totally frank or candid, vocabulary word. I did not write this sentence. I got this off Wikipedia about the goddess of discord because it seemed appropriate. So another story of Eris, the goddess of discord, includes Hera and the love of Polytechnos. And Adam. They claimed to love one another more than Hera and Zeus were in love. This angered Hera, so she sent Eris to rack discord upon them. Needless to say, some really tragic stuff happened, and then they were both transformed into birds. Yep, that's what gods do to people. All right, so discord means disagreement, but what you want to notice here is that discord isn't simply just a simple argument. Discord has connotations of intense chaos. So it's the idea of there being such an intense degree of fracas or rioting that it just creates complete chaos. So please know that when you look at this definition, it's not just simple disagreement. It's disagreement to the degree that chaotic riots have come out, that kind of anarchies occurred essentially. So that's what discord means. So it's a lot more intense than just simple agreement. A lot of times you'll hear it in the phrasing, there's discord in the ranks, which means that there is intense dissatisfaction and agreement amongst a hierarchy, and very likely for there to be some kind of coup or overthrow. And so that's a way that discord is oftentimes used. All right, so moving on, our next word is monotonous, adjective, without variety and tiresome. So monotonous is oftentimes used in the way, describing the way that somebody speaks. So the professor's monotonous call, Bueller did nothing to help wake Bueller up from his slumber upon his desk. So monotonous can describe when your voice does not vary in tone at all. Also monotonous can describe an experience. So the monotonous, what would you say? The monotonous lecture or the monotonous book. So a monotonous book, for instance, doesn't have anyone speaking, but it's the idea that it's just boring and the same stuff over and over again. The monotonous lesson, it's nothing changes. So it can have to do with the voice, but it can also have to do with an experience that's too consistent to the degree that it makes it boring. So the monotonous drive over the fields, everything looks the same. All right. So monotonous is the adjective. If you want to turn it into a noun, you'll turn it into monotony. Okay. So you have monoton. Ooh, I can't speak anymore. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm going to skip that. All right. So next we have trivial, which is an adjective, unimportant, insignificant. So trivial to some. The little ant knew that if he tried his hardest, he could make change in the world despite his small size. I believe in you, little ant. So trivial, unimportant, insignificant. Here we see the adjective trivial to some. All right. So those are your words. Make sure to go and use the practice slides, and good luck with your studying.